You will never be prepared to be an entrepreneur. You'll never really know what it's like until you actually jump in and become one. So stop consuming content thinking that this content is somehow going to prepare you for the journey ahead. The only thing you have to do right now is start. And this is something that I wish I had told myself 8 years ago before I started the business, because what I've learned is that at every step of the journey, there's going to be new challenges. And there's a quote that entrepreneurship is like jumping off the cliff and building your parachute on the way down. And that's very true. But what I didn't realize at first is just how long that free fall and building the parachute phase will last. And for me, it's been 8 years, and it still feels like I'm building the parachute on the way down, because at each stage of life, at each stage of running your business, there are new challenges and new questions to solve. For example, something I'm wrestling with now, I'm living in Medellin for the past couple of months, is dealing with the crazy level of freedom that I have. And I get it. That sounds like a very privileged problem to have, but it's actually a real problem in that I have no boss to make me show up at a certain time. If I don't work for 2 or 3 days or even don't work for a week, nothing immediately will happen. And yet, I'm well aware that my business could fall apart if I don't continue to tend to it. It's like building a garden. You've manicured this garden, and if you just don't tend to it for a long period of time, it's going to turn into a mess and a jungle, and it's not going to bear fruit or produce profit for you, as I should say. And yes, I have money saved up. I could live for multiple years without having to work, but that actually almost makes it harder because, again, the consequence of me not working for a week is so far removed and so far down the road, it would be easy for me to fall into that trap. And to be honest with you guys, I have been falling into that trap for the past week and the past couple of weeks, in that I'm in this exotic country of Colombia that I've never been to before these couple of months. I've made new friends, I'm in new social circles, and there's so much to do and so many invitations. And there's the energy of, I don't want to just stay in my apartment all day. I want to go out and explore. And yet, the thing that made me successful was actually staying in my apartment, putting my blinders on, and getting my work done and living kind of a boring life. So there's this juxtaposition of having all this freedom and yet knowing that the thing that got me to where I am today was actually just sitting down and working. So it takes an immense level of self-discipline to do that. I was talking with a friend of mine last night who's also an entrepreneur, and we were talking about this idea about being excited to meet your future self. And I really like this idea. And when my friend shared it with me, it really landed in the center of my being as something that's powerful. And what this idea is when you're thinking about whatever your goal is, like for me, it's getting up on time. It's saying no to social invitations, even if they're really fun and they're from people I want to hang out with. It's staying dialed in on my habits, staying committed to making videos. When it comes to the decision of whether or not to do those actions that you know you need to do and that you've decided are important to you, or not doing them, or sleeping in, saying yes to too many social invitations, whatever it is, think about looking forward to meeting your future self. And that future self is the ideal version of you that has the business you want, the financial freedom you want, the love you want, the friends you want, perhaps the girlfriend or wife and family that you want. You're living in your dream house or dream apartment, and your life is set up the way you want it. But here's the thing, instead of thinking about all of those externals, think about the person you will have to be to achieve that, and the person you will be in the future when you are living in that reality. And look forward to meeting that person now, and look forward to building yourself into that person. And that makes it easier to get up on time. That makes it easier to say no to the party or the hangout or whatever the thing is I'm invited to. And as an entrepreneur, you have to take full responsibility for being your own manager. I made a video a couple weeks ago and I said that 95% of people need someone to manage them in order to operate effectively. That's why companies are set up the way they are. There's a small group of people, let's say 5% at the top, the board, the C-level executives, and then there's 95% of people that are the workers that are doing the job. And the reason it's actually set up like that is because those 95% of people need a manager to tell them what to do, or else they'll just go off the rails. They don't have the self-discipline to do it for themselves. And I think people don't realize how hard it actually is to have that self-discipline when no one is forcing you to do the thing. Like, most employees would like to think that, hey, I'd be a great boss. I could run this company better than my boss could. And most of the time that's not true, because if it was true, you would have quit, built a business, managed yourself in a very efficient way, and you'd have your own business. So the fact you don't have that means you're not ready to do it. And I was in the same position. I thought life would be easier when I was my own boss. And while I would say life is better being your own boss, for me, in a lot of ways, it's actually harder because everything falls on my shoulders. I don't have someone managing me and someone keeping me on track to hit my goals. And yes, we can build structures around ourselves like masterminds and accountability groups, but it's still not the same. At the end of the day, I'm the one that has to manage myself. And I've been in the game 8 years now, and I still feel like I'm maybe 50% of the way there in being able to manage myself as effectively as I want to. And that's taken me 8 years. So if you're someone watching this that hasn't yet quit their job and started their business, I would strongly encourage you to do it soon, because even after you start, you're going to probably have a decade of learning the ropes of how to effectively manage yourself as an entrepreneur. And it's a felt sense of it. Like, no amount of Alex Hormozy videos or any other popular business influencer right now is going to really prepare you for it. They can maybe prepare you 5%, but the 95% is the felt experience of learning how to do it. And the other scary part is the more money you make, the more self-discipline and self-control that you need to have. Because as you accumulate your wealth, the number of fun, interesting distractions that you could choose to do just goes up exponentially. And the number of people that want your time, that are going to invite you to things, goes up exponentially. And it gets harder and harder when the things you're invited to are actually awesome things that you want to show up for, and they're people you want to meet. But at the end of the day, you can't say yes to all of them, because you have to make time to just do the boring work, focus, and keep moving forward. So for me right now in my business, my version of the boring work is creating videos for my second North Digital YouTube channel, which is specifically designed to get clients from my agency, following up with all the leads that we get, putting them in the CRM, making sure no one falls through the cracks, making sure that I maximize the revenue and the close rate from all the organic leads that come in. And then thirdly is managing my team of media buyers and SOPs and internal reporting and client reporting to make sure the clients get the best results possible. So there's kind of 3 buckets of things I need to be doing. And to be honest, none of them are extraordinarily exciting. Something I can admit is after 8 years of doing this, it can get a little bit boring. But the thing is if you talk to people who are truly at the peak of their industry, the titans of their industry, they say that, yes, it's actually supposed to be very boring because you're perfecting one specific thing and becoming the best at it. And it's actually very repetitive. And you have to embrace that situation. If you're constantly seeking novelty and excitement, chances are you're not going to be a very successful entrepreneur in the long term. So that's all I got for this video, guys. If you liked any of these topics, comment below about what you're working on. Subscribe for more content. I'm going to be focusing on more authentic content on my personal channel. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.